and welcome to Exalted. I have to say, I'm very happy with the title sequence. You're probably going to get fed up with it. So, yeah. Exalted, they're gods. This is not going to be a good thing.
Not at all.
We are gods in a very pseudo-Chinese, Japanese imperial setting. So,
The setting is going to be very sorry that we ever tried to play it.
if we don't try to ignore it with great diligence.
Right. So, you have to bear with us. The only one who's actually played this is Serpentis. So he's going to be explaining what we're doing wrong every 30 seconds.
Wait, he actually played this before?
Yeah.
Thank God. This is better than most games he played then.
Why do you think we were listening to him so avidly?
Because he's Serpentis. He has a beautiful accent.
Besides that.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm Grey Hunter, GM.
You are.
Yeah, normally. Last time I checked, anyway. So, just I think it's best probably.
The last time you were a player was when Dick Trump was GM.
Yeah.
That was years ago.
Yeah.
God damn.
We need to find other GMs so we can get Grey behind the dice.
It's okay. I don't mind it that much. So, I actually need the one that doesn't say, "Oh God, what have I got myself into?" There we go. Not my personal notes, the actual campaign setting. So, we're setting this one in the Scavenger Lands. The city of Langara has been declared bankrupt by the guild. They had a bad harvest, they couldn't keep up with their loan repayments, which the guild of course has been slowly increasing interest rates on, and now they have decided that it's just time to reclaim their assets. They've sent a legion of mercenaries to burn down the city, enslave the population and loot anything of value. The city, of course, is not too happy about this idea and has therefore attempted to form some form of defence. They've called out for anyone who's willing to help and have managed to get quite a large band of Exalted. If you've not played Exalted, Exalted are basically demigods who were created by the gods to kill the primordial beings, because it's like 70 pages setting. Just go look.
Assholes, basically.
Everyone's pretty much an asshole.
There's a lot of assholishness to go around.
Yeah, the Exalted that were then the solo Exalted, who all our characters are, because we're keeping it simple. Because, well, I say simple. I don't know if simple can actually be evolved for this, but
Simple-ish.
Yeah, simple-ish. All characters are
We're
solo
not
Exalted.
playing Fids.
Yeah,
Let's just leave it at that.
they're all solo Exalted, who were, the top-notch Exalted, until they started going a little bit, crazy, decadent, way all power corrupts thing. They then got sealed. Their souls got sealed away for several thousand years, and they're now only about. That's still several. 2 is several.
After 2 apocalypses later, the souls got broken out.
Yeah, they've all broken free and are going back into the world. So the idea is, try not to get noticed by the Exalted, the terrestrial Exalted who've been ruling the place since then.
That's
and who
for
are
the other
responsible
Exalted.
for the overthrow of the Solars.
Yeah.
Just to put a fine point on it, that's for the other Exalted. Our band of Exalted has decided to, gather armies and start a revolution.
Well, no, hang on a minute. That's
Some
completely.
members of our
Some
party.
members have.
Yes.
Look, we're going to be paid we need to make sure we get paid in actual physical assets in this place because it's already broke. Hopefully we do not just end up with IOUs.
Considering that if this somehow pans out, we're going to be kicking over an army belonging to the guild, they'll probably be collateral.
Anyway.
Right. So I think it's time to start character introductions. Who's up first?
From the left?
From the left, as normal.
Oh,
So-
is that me? Oh,
yeah,
right.
that's
sorry.
you for once. You managed to actually log in first.
Holy shit. Right, hello. It's Serpentis. You may remember me as the poor, miserable bastard who has to put up with escalating insanity. Well, I've decided this time, I'll get in on that. My
Took you
character...
long
Tell me about
Took you
it.
long enough.
Yeah. My character is Vengeful Jewel of the Tundra. She formerly is of Whitehall, which is a city up in the north of the setting, quite some way away from the Scavenger Lands. Orphaned during war, sort of became what might be considered some kind of mix of spy and saboteur. She exalted in the middle of an assassination attempt of a barbarian king who was attempting to assault the city. But she also received a vision that essentially Whitewall had always viewed her as a disposable asset, and so she realized that she really had no longer any loyalty or family to the city, and so moved south, and is now aiming to essentially amass enough of a personal and friendly power base to go back to Whitewall and reinstate solar rule as the other part of her original vision. Nightcasts, generally speaking, are a mixture of, I'm trying to think of a D&D equivalent really, I suppose you'd probably call them a smash of rogue and ninja. They're very stealth oriented, very sort of athletic-y based. I do also have some, and that's pretty much my primary roles. I won't go into too much more detail, because otherwise I'll cause you all to kill yourself talking my voice, but there we are.
Most definitely.
Oh, and Gray's very kindly put up a map showing where Whitewall is, in opposed to where everything else is.
I can zoom out.
Also, we apologize for basically everything about this module. It's from 2010.
This module's from 2010. It's at least one version, possibly two versions of Fantasy Grounds Pack.
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, it's still our best option.
Would you believe it?
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a lot of this kind of just looking at sheets and rolling. I mean, if anyone's seen me play the Fantasy Grounds before, this is what my NPC sheet looks like. There's basically bugger that all there. It's like got health, but how do I add to the health? I can't even add to health, willpower, and all that.
You can by right-clicking on it, and it will have a little window saying "Add health level."
There we go.
But you have to do it one at a time.
Oh yes, that's very easy.
Willpower, you just click the dots.
Willpower at least is a dot. But, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that we're having to actually explain this just shows how wonderful this module is, and how it isn't going to cause our already high blood pressures to soar through the roof to the point I start bleeding my nose.
I can already feel myself shriveling.
I have been having an atrocious.
We actually chose to do this, folks. Remember that.
I mean, we did float Roll20 as an option, but
Yeah, the problem with Roll20 is it's just as bad with the character sheets,
That
and
would mean
recording is a
Ray
nightmare. Yeah, recording Roll20 is a nightmare.
It is.
so,
Unfortunately.
in that case, anyone in the comments, if you happen to have a suggestion for something that might work better,
We love you.
Go ahead. We would
love
listen.
I'm
Please.
not saying that I will come to your house and hold you at knife point.
I'll pay
Are
you.
you sure?
But
You're supposed
Well,
to be
I guess-
encouraging.
Dude, remember how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
This is Blade. This is Blade.
Carrot, then stick, not stick, then stick.
Alright, so...
No, it's stick then blank.
Move on to
so
Zebrin, I think.
We got
Yes.
Sepence's character, and now it's up to Severin, I think.
Yes.
Alright. Well, I am Zebrin, and I am playing Joyous Sapphire Tsunami. Joyous Sapphire Tsunami was born to a family who had pretty much nothing. He didn't even know the city that he was living in. To say that he disliked the state of affairs quite a bit is an understatement. So what he started doing was simple tasks for the more successful merchants, running errands, that sort of thing. He made enough to live doing that, but the real payment was being able to watch as they actually did their deals. Eventually, putting these observations to the test, he was able to work up a small amount of resources and actually managed to get a job as a trader working in a caravan. That worked out pretty well for him for a while, until the caravan's owner made a rather fatal mistake in route choices when he went through the lands of 4 separate feuding tribes. The caravan was, for the most part, butchered for trading with the caravan's enemies, or for the tribe's enemies, and the wares were taken. Sapphire managed to survive via his abilities at stealth and his ability to blend in. Eventually managed to work his way into trading with all 4 tribes in secret. Managing to leverage these deals, he was able to trick all 4 tribes' leaders into following his connections and set up a meeting between the 4 of them, one that he guaranteed the safety at. Through his skills in diplomacy, he prevented the bloodshed that was about to happen, and actually created a peace treaty between all 4 tribes.
Yay.
This caused him to exalt as an eclipse caste in front of all 4 leaders' eyes, which, so acting quickly, Sapphire added a secrecy clause for his deal, or for his exaltation to the deal, and then used his status as an eclipse to make the deal bound under the laws of the unconquered sun. Since then, he's been working as a trader for them and is currently moving around this city after hearing about the problems. Peace and good roads are good for merchants, after all.
Good goals, good goals. Peace and prosperity for all.
Indeed.
So, Ray, what city are we at? Is it on the map?
It's not on the map, but it's in the. It's somewhere. Because it's Nexus is the guild city, isn't it?
Scavenger Lands.
Yeah.
Nexus is their base, but they've got
Yeah.
finger basically every pie around it.
So, can I put a little. We'll say we're kind of here-ish. Kind of down the fork, but nowhere kind of important. It's by Creation's kind of a heavily dense populated area because magic apparently works well here. So
Go for it.
Also, a note of scale: the Scavenger Lands, which is that circled bit that you can probably barely see,
Yeah.
is about half the size of the U.S.
Which one?
it's about that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
That's circle.
I'll move you to about here then.
I
Oh,
don't
for the
see a
record.
mark.
I do. It's just right of Great Falls.
Right,
For
just
the
right at the
record.
Great Falls.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, no, I see it.
For
It,
the
it
record.
just looked like a line on the map.
For the record,
Okay,
all of
who's
those-
next?
Alright.
Adamant.
I am the adamant hooded prince. I am a thief of the pious order. Way back, I am also an expatriate of the Blessed Isle, mostly because way back when I was of a humble beginning, my village was turned into was made for non-persons non gratis because of missing too many tax seasons due to being set on scrubland. So, unfortunately, those who are capable of the village had to turn to banditry and poaching to make at least some living while traveling the countryside trying to find work. This, as he grew better in his trade and so forth, of stealthily taking what he could, he went and was able to go and loot the house, the manor house, the noble that did so to him and did so to this village, and was able to gain enough information to disgrace said noble and family by and making it public knowledge. This causing enough havoc and boosting his title to causing so much heat, he had to get smuggled out of the Blessed Isles, and now has arrived in the Scavenger Lands, looking to set up a new organization of thieves in a place that needs a lot of money, a lot of finances, and a lot of help. And I'm just the willing hand outstretched to ensure they get just that for a price.
For those of you paying attention at home, exaltation really happens to people who are great, not necessarily morally good.
He's very
No,
good
no.
at being bad.
You're mistaken.
I
You're mistaken.
am very good at what I do.
I said morally good.
And so long it's a part of the contract, I am completely well down by good contracts. Make sure that they're good and well written.
Serpentis, the word you were looking for is not great, it is awesome.
Fair point, also.
Okay, I'm up next. My character is Mousif the Leveler. Yes.
Really?
And we have
The Levelers are actually British. They were some of the supporters of Cromwell. It's not so much communism as it is workers' rights, fair hours.
It's a damn shame their entire legacy has been wiped out.
Personal. So it takes people just left. So after a year or so, the bandits looted the entire town and they left. And then the Lord returned, demanding all the money from the town to rebuild his manor. Then Mousif, who was a simple merchant at the time, he made a grand speech to rally the people to overthrow the leader. And he exalted, so now he is famous and worshipped in his hometown. And he wants to spread the message of power to the people and down with the dragon-blooded to the whole of creation.
Yeah. Go on the best part.
This can't end
What?
badly.
The thing in your mans. That
Oh.
mechanic.
All right, I have a man's, which is the Great Printworks. So it's a shop full of presses that produces propaganda posters that my cult just spreads.
You're gonna make the book, aren't you? Just make the book. That little red book. I beg
Please,
you.
no, not that particular book.
Well, again, it's not that. It's not necessarily communism as it existed in the 20th century. It's more like, workers' rights, trade unions, that sort of
It's
thing.
good enough. It's good enough.
It's the first push to social programming.
Yes.
It's basically
Let the-
throwing off the shackles of the aristocracy.
Down with the bourgeoisie. Power to the proletariat.
Yep.
We actually did have kind of what was like the first communism movements during the
Suffragists.
well, no, during the Civil War.
Ah.
It was just a bunch of people who were basically decided, well, what happens if we just moved everything together, lived well together.
Yeah.
And it lasted okay, did several years, and then the war ended, and they kind of realised these guys had set themselves off on Greenwich Common, and they just kind of got disbanded after that. But they were actually the first communists, and they just get forgotten.
Enclave, if you will. Oh, sorry. I thought you said the first communist and then paused like you were looking for a word.
No.
Well,
Alright. So
I'm having so much fun right now. Not because I have any sympathies to communists, but the irony of it all. I'm from a former communist nation, so it's just so ironic that I'm going to be playing alongside a communist revolutionary and with my own army to end slavery and tyranny, the tyranny of the dragon blood, etc., etc., etc. Oh, this is going to be so fun. I love it.
Is that on to me then?
yep.
Cloud Piper, alright.
Yep.
Hello, I am Ablative. I am playing Cloud Smiting King, the Twilight of the group, who 6 months ago would probably have been on the other side of this battle, actually. He was raised in Nexus from the age of 2 as a mercenary camp follower, essentially just picking up whatever odd jobs needed to be done. And then something sort of like this happened. The guild contracted out a bunch of mercenary groups, had them go off to some city and knock it over to get what they thought was theirs. And in the process, 95% of Cloud's mercenary group was completely wiped out. The battle was won, but the guild decided not to pay. This understandably made him rather angry, so he decided to steal some orichalcum from them, which is a super metal sort of thing, and cold forge it into a spear to shove it up their collective asses.
Nice.
This
Oh.
is...
All on once or one after another?
Edit it all. Although I think we may have lost the lady.
No,
So,
he's still connected.
And...
Oh, he's just gone a bit roboty.
We may have to come back and finish Ablative's background once his network stabilizes.
Yeah, so in the meantime, I'll go for my character. Hello everyone, I'm Bisou again, and I'll be playing the character of President. She, at a young age, lived with her family near the southern city of Gem. That's near lava flows and lots of jewels are mined there. However, at one point the captain of the local garrison was rather inept, and the security was so bad that he basically missed a band of roving nomads attacking the village where Dresden grew up with her
Okay, where did I cut off at?
collective spear shoved up collective assholes.
Oh, yeah. So, this is by definition completely impossible because you can't just cold forge Orichalcum, you need a volcano. So, fate conspired to exalt him for that. He did shove it up their collective asses, stole what was left of the caravan afterward, ran off to Great Forks, got himself a nice education, heard about this battle, and came down to basically stop it. Because he's fucking sick of this now.
Ablative, this guy had a very good question. The spear shoving, was it one at a time or all at once?
He basically made a boss pole.
Nice. Lord Seppich would be proud.
So you're playing my character from Pendragon?
Well, with a bit more Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah. You first killed your enemies, Zeb. I think Ablative is going to be carrying them around while still alive.
Sounds about right.
Not
Yeah.
for very long.
But anyway, it's the thought that counts. The thought of carrying them around while they're still living as they are impaled on your...
Also, that great education that he got in Great Forks, it included sorcery.
Hoo-hoo.
Yes, it's our sorcerer who goes around cold forging Orichalcum just as you do.
Hey,
Well,
it's magic.
he's also a master blacksmith because that's how Twilights do.
True.
Right. To continue, I just had started my story for my character. She was basically enslaved by these nomads as they killed her entire family. The Lord of Gem, the despot around there, decided to, instead of actually relying on his inept commanders, send a mercenary back, the Stonehelm Legion, to wipe out the nomads, which they did, freeing Dresden and basically taking her as part of the bounty. She grew up. Let's not comment on other backstory about her time in the Legion, but to put it bluntly, she didn't break from her time there. She, as a matter of fact, wanted to become the head of the Legion, just so she could, do it how she wanted. She wanted to be in charge. She has a very, mean streak in that. And as she became a part of the Legion, she kind of lost the go of reforming it, as one thing led to another, one battle led to another, to looting the corpses, to finishing off prisoners. Her heart blackened at these actions. And to continue with her little story, at one point they were sent to defend a city which was going to be attacked by an army of nomads and bandits. That is where her exaltation occurred, because the Legion's commander was bad at the time and led the Legion into an ambush, wiping off 3/4 of it. The survivors huddled into the city, and as the slaughter began, they were pretty much resigned to getting destroyed. Dresden, realizing that she had lived a very bad life as she grew up, seeing that she was basically the only person defending these civilians, she was actually called up in a holy place, being the only soldier there, decided that if she did not live a good life, that she would have at least a good death, one that can be remembered. If life treated her so bad, then at least she will have something to be remembered by. So she went out and fought. She killed 1, 5, 6, 12, 2 dozen, 3 dozen, and as she was, struck by mortal wounds, when she realized that her fellow mercenaries and even the townspeople were rising in arms, as following her example, she exalted and defeated the army that she was fighting. Thus, she became the leader of the Stonehelm Legion, and now she leads it against such bands of slavers and these barbarian tribes and local despots that enslave and destroy ruin the local population of villages, and prey on the innocent. And now she is here, seeing as the guild has decided to completely destroy a city just because it defaulted on its debts and to enslave its population, pillage it. She will not stand for it. She has an army, and she has found compatriots who are sympathetic to her cause, and she thinks it's time to fight.
Alright, so those are, well, I'm going to say heroes.
What caste is she?
Dawn. I forgot.
We should also probably cover who's
Our
got
classical version of hero, our classical story of heroes.
Yes,
What did you
Dawn
cover?
are
What
the
there?
frontline combatants, army leaders, and general in-your-face kill you with sharp things. Solar exalts.
Twilights are archetypical sorcerers and blacksmiths and smiths in general and crafters and smart people, essentially.